So they bring the ball out. Spot it. Well, now let's wait a minute and see. What's he giving a first down signal for? Roughing the kicker, but they didn't get enough yardage for a first down. But he gave a first down signal. I think he's a little confused. Fourth down situation. They'll have to try it all over again as Ferguson again. This time will be kicking from about the, well, when he gets the ball, probably from about the 15-yard line. And again, Rosebud and Trost deep, waiting the kick for the Beavers. They're going to have the rush on again. Yes, he gets the kick away. Good kick this time, high spiral. Rosebud is going to have to let it roll, and it goes out of bounds on about the 28-yard line of the Beavers of Buena Vista. So they'll have a chance to get their offense in gear once more here. Here's an early score for you Big 8 fans. First quarter score, Oklahoma 7, Nebraska 3. That's a halftime score, correction. All right, Knutson sets them down once again. Looks, he gives to Kafer. Kafer running off his right side, gets about 4 maybe as he comes up across the 30-yard line to about the 32. In on the stop, Chuck Ferguson for the Cavaliers. Turn back into the Beaver lineup, replacing Syro, with instructions from head coach Jim HERSHBERGER. There are the cheerleaders for St. Mary of the Plains, as Knutson sets them down again. He looks, he keeps. Now he pitches out at the last minute to Jeff Trost, and he is run out of bounds at about the 39-yard line. Pretty close to the first down. We'll have to wait and see where they mark it.
Okay, this is the first time that the Beavers have used the option today. And here's Knutson rolling out. Does a good job. Almost gets tackled, makes a pitch at the final minute. Good run by Jeff Trost.
And Trost finally forced out of bounds by Owen Kane for the Cavaliers as they bring the chain gang clean across the field to see what the situation is. 1st and 10 Beavers. As they bring the ball in, we'll have to wait and see where they actually spot it. It's in between the 38 and the 39, we believe. Call it the 38.5-yard line. 1st and 10 Buena Vista. They trail in the ball game 14-6. We've got 9 minutes and 49 seconds to play in the first half. Knutson looking to pass now, drops back, throws a screen out here intended for Kafer. Once again off the left side, all by himself. So it'll be a 2nd and 10 situation now. That little screen pass has been the big play for the Beavers so far in the ball game, with Kafer on the receiving end. Jim Brune into the lineup for Steve Trost for the Beavers. As once again Knutson brings them out. Kafer lined up right behind him. Knutson again looking for the throw. Throws on this side, picked off in there by Trost, but somebody had his number that time. Chuck Ferguson right with him. Picked up a couple of yards.
Okay, this is just a little slant out by the halfback, Jeff Trost. It's a quick pass. There's a nice catch, but there's a good defensive play there by the Cavaliers, and it's now a big 3rd down for the Beavers.
Steve Trost back in there for Brune for Buena Vista with a 3rd and 8 situation. The ball right on just over the 40-yard line of the Beavers. Trost wide to the left. Chance him out. Here's the handoff to Kafer. Got a good hole, big hole, running hard, and picks up the first down all the way down to the 45-yard line. As finally, Roy Brown brings him to the ground after he picks up big yardage and another Buena Vista first down. He faked the handoff to one man and then came on the counter to Kafer, and away he went. Brune replacing Trost again. There are the messenger boys right now for the Beavers of Buena Vista College and Coach Jim HERSHBERGER. So they'd like to get some more points on the board before the end of the half if they possibly can. Knutson fakes. Kafer slips in the mud. Knutson keeps the ball and gets maybe 5 himself. Kafer was trying to get underway, lost his footing. Mark Van Dyke finally made the stop on Knutson. 82 checking into that Cavalier lineup is Harold Edwards, replacing Roy Brown. So it'll be a second and a long 5 situation. Going wide to the right is Brune, and wide to the left turn for the Beavers. Knutson calling them out once again. He's looking, he throws over the middle all by himself. Right out in the middle is Jim Brune, still running, and finally wrestled out of bounds at about the 16-yard line by John Hall.
Let's look at it.
Right on target that time, Knutson.
Okay, Jim Brune making his first catch of the day. Knutson dropping back, takes a deep drop. Brune's wide open over the middle, and this guy can run after he catches a ball. He was a fullback in high school. Good there, and finally tackled there, but a big play for the Beavers, and they're threatening again, and this might be a tie ball game by halftime.
All right, 1st and 10 for the Beavers at the 16-yard line of the Cavaliers. Jim HERSHBERGER talking things over on the far sidelines with Brune, who just made that reception and the good run. Knutson with it. He turns back. He looks. He throws, cutting right over the middle. Intended in there for Steve Trost, but thrown low. And right on top of him was Matt McKee and Tom Arnick. So quite possible that Knutson just threw the thing away. Didn't want to take a chance on the interception. As Turn comes back into the lineup for Cyro for the Beavers. 2nd and 10 situation. The ball actually on the 17-yard line where they have it marked now. Kafer right behind Knutson. As Knutson rolls out to the right, he looks right over the middle in there to Trost. Yep, Trost, or correction, Steve Trost, and he's down in there to see where they spot the ball. Looks like it's going to be good right to the 5-yard line for a 1st and goal situation now for the Beavers.
Okay, Trost flanked out to the left. He just comes into the middle, just a square into the middle. The pass was delivered right where it should be. A good catch.
Brune back into the Beaver lineup now. 1st and goal to go from about the 5.5-yard line. Brune is flanked wide to the left, wide to the right is Turn. Knutson chomps them out, calling his signals and turns. He gives to Kafer. Kafer gets about 2 before losing his footing and going to the turf. Picked up about 2 yards, so it'll be a 2nd and 3 situation away from pay dirt. Cyro back into the Beaver lineup for Turn with a play from the bench. 2nd and 3, the score 14-6. St. Mary's on top. Midway through the 2nd period, a little better in midway. All right, Knutson again. Gives to Kafer again. Kafer over the right side down to about the 1-yard line. See where they mark it, as Roger Schmidt was in there to make the stop, the left side linebacker, and Darrell Schumacher opening a nice hole for him to find that yardage. On the 3-yard line they put it now, so it'll be 3rd and 3. Timeout, Buena Vista, as Steve Knutson wants to go over and talk things over with his coach, Jim HERSHBERGER. Dick Utter, what do you think in a situation like this?
I think something that you might look for, we haven't, or Buena Vista has not used Trost to run inside yet at all. They've used just Kafer in there. Trost actually has carried the ball very little, and both on pitch outs. They could be coming inside with Trost.
Okay, thanks very much, Dick. We have Jay Beckman, the athletic director from Buena Vista College, here in the booth with us. Jay, things didn't look too good for the Beavers in the 1st quarter. How about now?
Bob, we're doing much better, I think, now. I think really that our timing was off, and I think this is primarily due to the fact we haven't practiced for a couple of days. It was cold Thursday in Kansas State, and so we didn't work out. I think they've got a lot of things ironed out now, and I think they're going to do fine.
Okay, Jay, stick around. Don't go away. We'll be back to you in a few moments. All right, 3rd and 3, the situation for the Beavers as they get a towel down there on the field to wipe the ball off and say, go ahead back in there, fellas, and talk it over, as they weren't ready to go for some reason or other. The ball just almost dead on that 3-yard line as Knutson gives them the word. Brune goes wide to the left, Cyro wide to the right. as Arp gets ready to go down over the ball, and Roy Piper, the referee, says, okay, let's have at it. Knutson looks things over, sets them down. Chants out his signal. Now turns, fakes, comes around the left side. He's got some room. He may get in there, and does. Steve Knutson on the bootleg off to the left. And number 51, Tom Arnick, was after him.
Okay, this is Knutson on the bootleg for about the first time today. He fakes to Jeff Trost there and comes outside. That's a tight end, Larry Stapleton, held up that defensive back with a good block just long enough to keep Knutson to let him get into that corner of the end zone. Let's see now, maybe the Beavers will go for 2, but it looks like Egley's in there, and they're going to try for the sure extra point this time and not tie it up.
All right, Dave Kirchman and Tom Arnick both had a shot at Steve Knutson, but couldn't get there as he put on that little burst of speed and made it into pay dirt, as Egley will try and make it 14-13 now. The snap, no. Picking up the ball, faking and running and getting in there. Yes, very nicely was Steve Trost for the Beavers, and that ties the ball game up at 14 apiece. I see no flags down on the field, so with 6 minutes and about 8 seconds to go in the first half, we've got a tie ball game between the Beavers and the Cavaliers. Jay Beckman, maybe you're a good luck charm for that team of yours.
I hope so, Bob, because these kids have played well all year, and they're getting it together again now, and I think they're going to do a fine job. It's just great to get it tied up, and now I'm sure that they're going to go on and take her from here. You bet.
Jay, thank you very much. I notice you're doing a little bit of shivering up here, and the thing that you're thinking about, knowing you for many, many years, is when do we head south for spring training? All right, the Beavers Egley will kick off. Deep is Pat George for the Cavaliers, standing on just about the goal line. We've got a brand new ball game, all tied up. The kick is a floater off to the left side. It's not going to roll out of bounds. It's finally picked up in there about the 10-yard line by Edwards, and he's hit immediately by Chuck Stetzel for the Beavers. So now,
see that again.
This Buena Vista Beaver team has come afire.
Can we see that again? Good play. Eddie went through 3 guys.
All right, 1st and 10 for the Cavaliers on about their 11. As now, down 14-0, the Beavers have come storming back, gnawing away as a Beaver is known to do. Martinez, or McNeese correction in there, the quarterback gives straight ahead to Haslam. And then there's Brad Jones along with Max Struby to make the stop for the Beavers. Struby piling up the interference and Jones making the final stop there. Pickup of about 3 yards, make it 2nd and 7. I would imagine that the Beaver pass defense is on the alert now, too, after what happened in the first quarter. All right, coming wide to the right is Roger Schmidt. And here's the handoff, cut back through to Haslam, and he had nowhere to go as Gary Schmidt hog-tied him that time.
Okay, we got a good shot here of the Beaver middle guard, Gary Schmidt, number 67. He does a good job. He stands up his man and takes him grabs him high, and then he gets a little help after he stood it up. That's a good play. Hold his ground tough in there by Gary Schmidt, a junior from Winfield, Illinois.
All right, it'll be a 3rd and about 6 situation now as McNeese brings him out once again. Al Giambroni flanked wide to the right. Tom Brigham wide to the left as McNeese wants to throw. Throws over here and knocked down nicely at the last minute. Out of bounds, Max Struby, doggone near took the TV camera with him.
Okay, that's just a quick out pattern there by their end again, and Struby does a good job of getting over there. About a step earlier, he might have had 6 points, but he did a good job, knocked the ball down, forced another punt.
All right, back deep for the Beavers, Rosebud and Trost, and standing pretty close to his goal line, Ferguson for the Cavaliers. Gets a good snap. The rush partially on, gets a low wobbly kick away, and it's going to roll around and finally be down by the Cavaliers on the far side of the field by Owen Kane at about the 47-yard line of St. Mary. Tom Braum was the man who finally downed the ball along with Kane. So 1st and 10 Beavers from the 47-yard line of the Cavaliers. 14-14 our score in the ball game with 4:45 to go in the first half's action. There's the Beaver mascot over on the far side of the field, some of the cheerleaders. As Knutson sets it down once again. Then he gives straight ahead to Caver. Caver running for about 3 off his left side before he's finally stacked up in there by McKee and Martinez, Tony Martinez, for the Cavaliers. Make it a 2nd and 7 situation now for Buena Vista, as Turn replaces Cyro in that Beaver lineup. Coach Jim Hershberger uses different messengers throughout the course of the ball game. So Turn is flanked wide to the left, as Knudsen sets him down once again. He fakes, rolls out to his right, looks, throws over the middle, and it is complete to Turn. Or correction, Larry Stapleton was the tight end coming across, and he's going to be shy of the first down. He was finally tripped up by Pat George. They say no, they got the first down on it after they spot the ball at the 35-yard line of the Cavaliers. 1st and 10 Beavers. Roy Piper, the referee, checking his watch to see how much time they're taking in there. Knudsen gives to Kafer. Kafer off his right tackle, stopped by Kircham. He gets a couple, maybe 3. We'll wait and see where it is when they spot it. John Moses in helping out too. Give him a short 2, make it 2nd and 8, as Brune comes back into the Beaver lineup for Steve Trost. Brune goes wide to the right, Cyro coming wide left. Kafer in behind Knudsen. Knudsen fakes, rolls out to the right again, gets around his man, has a blocker running well, and might have the first down again. Steve Knudsen on the keeper. John Hall making the stop, but not until he picked up another first down at about the 23-yard line.
Okay, this is that bootleg that the Beavers scored on their last touchdown. Knudsen, just this time he goes the other way with it. There's a good block out there by one of the linemen. He gets out, and Knudsen cut back inside and picks up a good gain.
Beaver fans quite happy right now, as you can see on the far side, as Knudsen sets them once again. Turns, hands off to Kafer. Kafer keeps his balance, gets that hand down there, and picks up maybe 5 yards before he's finally stopped. 4 to 5 yards. We'll see where they spot it. Well, they're claiming, I do believe, that his knee touched right at about the 20-yard line, right on the 20. Pickup of about 4, make it 2nd and 6. 2nd and 6 for the Beavers, as Knudsen brings them out again. He has Bruce wide to the left, Cyro wide to the right. A chance out his signals. He turns. He fakes to Kafer. He pitches to Trost. Ball lost, and he's thrown for a loss. Jeff Trost was kind of a bad pitch, hard to handle. The ball comes back to about the 28-yard line.
Okay, Buena Vista's trying to run that option out there, and Knudsen was hurried here just a little bit more than he would have liked. He would have had a little bit more time. He could have had a good play, but it was a bad pitch, and Jeff Trost did all he could do to get the ball. Good coverage by the Cavalier lineman.
Tom Arnick was the man in there putting the pressure on Steve Knudsen that time, so we come up with about a 3rd and 14 situation. Cyro wide left. Turn wide right. Here's the bootleg again. There, the ball is knocked down in the air, and no, trapped. No interception. So it'll come up a 4th down situation now. The ball was tipped, and coming in there fast to tip the ball was Dave Kircham from the left side of the line. And Pat George tried to make the interception, but couldn't come up with it. So it'll be a 4th down situation now for the Beavers, and we've got 1:16 left to go in the first half's action as the bands begin to form at the end of the fields. The Dodge City Red Demon Band, of course, as we told you earlier, headed for the Tournament of Roses parade. Coach Jim Hershberger over there trying to think about what he wants to do in this situation. And his offensive coach talking things over with Steve Knudsen. And there's Coach Matt May of the Cavaliers trying to tell his defense what he wants to them to be sure of also. It looks like Egley is coming into the ball game to try what could be. The ball is on about the 29-yard line. It would be spotted at about the 36 or 37, which would make it a 47-yard field goal attempt by Egley of the Beavers, with time running out in the first half. His longest one on the season is 41 yards. So now they're talking things over once again. As Mike Cooper is in there, he'll be doing the holding. But now the officials are having a consultation over the ball, the umpire and the referee, Roy Piper. What this is all about, we don't know. Steve Trost is the holder on the kick, if we get around to it here. Now, okay, they say we didn't take enough time there, evidently. So now that's what we're going to get back doing. Steve Trost, the holder, and Egley will attempt about a 47-yard field goal for the Beavers. Snap, good. The ball on the tee, the kick in the air. It's got the distance or not? No. A little bit short. He had the range. He was on target. He was about 2 yards short. So the Cavaliers will take over at their own 20-yard line, 1st and 10, as McNeese, their passing quarterback, goes in there with 1 minute, 10 seconds left to go in the first half's action. And so far, the Beavers have done an excellent job of containing the speed merchant Haslam of the Cavaliers. McNeese, he turns, he gives to Haslam, and he gets nowhere. The first man on the stop, Vicenius, along with Keith Kirchhoff for the Beavers. He got maybe a yard. They give him a yard, it'll be 2nd and 9. Now, are the Cavaliers going to be content to go into the locker room all tied up, or are they going to try and bust a long one here? We'll have to wait and see. In that backfield, Gene Flax, along with Haslam. As McNeese sets them down once again. Throws it out. Gives on the handoff to Haslam, and he breaks one this time, but not too much yardage, as John Rosebud comes up to make the stop, and looks like, however, he did get it. Oops, hold it. Flag down, illegal procedure against the Cavaliers. Somebody jumped the gun. So rather than give him the first down, I would guess, you never assume anything in a football game, so I'm guessing the Beavers will take the penalty and move them back 5 yards and make it a 2nd and 14 situation from about the 15-yard line. Illegal procedure, the call against the Cavaliers. Timeout on the field for St. Mary. We're down to 32 seconds left to go here in the first half's action. And we want to get another word in here edgewise with the athletic director and the old rubber arm from Buena Vista College, Jay Beckman. Jay, you're standing up here with us watching what's happening. Have the Beavers in the second half of the season been a more productive ball club, or is it usually pretty well balanced?
No, I think it's been fairly well balanced, Bob. They've scored well all year. As you know, they've averaged over 30 points a ball game, and so I think probably the finesse that they've shown at times has probably improved a little bit in the second half. But they've been a fine offensive ball club all year. They really have.
Well, fine, Jay, and of course we're looking forward to a lot of explosive action in the second half, because it's going to be a situation where who knows what happens. We've got just about 30 minutes of football out of our way so far, and they could have just stayed in the locker room for the first half, because they're going to leave unless something unusual happens here, all knotted up, 14-14. In the third period, Oklahoma 21, Nebraska 10. Well, somebody's going to eat oranges come New Year's Day. Somebody's going to not have too much fun in a Fiesta Bowl. All right, down over the ball. Here's the handoff. Joe Haslam going off the left side, and he gets ganged up on the far side by Kirchhoff and Fay, and along in there's Brad Jones for the Beavers. He might have picked up the yardage lost on the penalty, and they say yes, he did. He got the 5 yards back, so it's a 3rd and 9 situation now. As the Beavers are thinking right now, of course, containment. They may not even run another play before the end of the first half, as the clock is starting to run down, as Bruska comes up over the ball. And there is the whistle signifying the end of the first half, with our score at halftime. The Cavaliers of St. Mary's of the Plain, 14. The Beavers of Buena Vista College of Storm Lake, Iowa, 14. the halftime festivities, as you can see down on the field, the Dodge City Red Demon High School Marching Band, 185 strong. They will be sharing the halftime festivities with the Buena Vista Beaver College Band, and we're looking forward to this. Darrell Ewalt, you know a little bit about what's going on here. Why don't you tell them about it? So we'll see if what's happening here and give a rundown.
Coming back the way they did, I wasn't real sure the way we started out. I thought that maybe the layoff and the cold weather had hurt us. And, right now, I like some of the pictures that we're seeing on the screen of the Dodge City High School Marching Band. And the way I understand it, they're going to the Tournament of Roses Parade this year.
Right you are, and we're going to turn things over now to the PA announcer to tell you what's happening out on the field. We had the pleasure of chatting with Dr. Keith Briscoe of Buena Vista College. And we're happy to have with us the president of Buena Vista College in Storm Lake, Iowa, Dr. Keith Briscoe. And I know that he's very happy to be down here with his many followers. Keith, what do you think about all this?
Well, we're tremendously excited to be here. The people in Dodge City have just done a tremendous job preparing this field, preparing the hospitality for our college, our students, and our alumni that are here. We're just pleased to be here, Bob.
Keith, now it takes a lot of effort from a lot of people to make things like this possible. And you've got some wonderful boosters back there in Storm Lake. How about some of them?
Well, the exciting thing is the Iowa Educational Broadcasting Network put this on. This is the first time that a game like this has been broadcast all the way across the state of Iowa, and we're tremendously pleased with them. Then we got some friends like Carl Bundorn of the Seidler Incorporated, who's helped us bring everything down here for the television, and we also got a good friend by the name of John Need from Eljon Corporation in Ottumwa. And these people have just been tremendous.
Well, this is a great boost for Iowa's private colleges, of course, and this is the second appearance of a team from the Iowa Conference in the Boothill Bowl. I imagine this pleases you no end.
It pleases me a great deal. You know, Penn State is going for a national championship today, or not William Penn. Okay. Penn State's trying to do something today, too. But William Penn is really going for one for us today, and then, of course, Central won last year nationally for us, and the year before that, Northwestern. So we feel the Iowa Conference and the Iowa private schools are tops in the country.
Well, they've definitely proven that in the past, both from an academic standpoint as well as an athletic standpoint. Now, what about your overall program?
Academically, we're probably one of the exciting small colleges in the state. We have 9% of all the superintendents in the state are our students, 20% of all the principals in the state. Last year, 10 out of 10 of our pre-med students got into med school, and I guess that's the history of the school for some time.
Well, Buena Vista's been around a long time, and of course, your tenure there is kind of short yet, but I know you've done a tremendous job in talking with the people back in that area, and they're looking forward to you being around quite some time.
Thank you, thank you. You know, we're also applauding Drake today. Dick Gaffney, the one man in the Storm Lake that put together this entire TV broadcasting for us, couldn't be here today with us. He put it all together, and then he's going to see his son play out in Philadelphia with Drake, and his son only needs 4 points to to make a new school record. And so we're hoping that he gets those 4 points today.
Well, I know that a lot of people put in a lot of effort, Dr. Briscoe, including yourself, and we want to thank you very much for being with us, and good luck in the coming ball game.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you for being with us today.
Talked with Jim Hale, the band director of Buena Vista College, and his team or band will be performing here shortly. Here's what Jim had to say.
We're happy to have with us Jim Hale, the director of the Buena Vista College band, who has quite a track record. He was associated with the Cotton Bowl down in Texas for some time, and the weather's a little bit different up here, Jim.
Yes, it's a little bit cooler, but we've been in some Cotton Bowls where it's been rather cool also, so I'm used to it. It's seasonal for me.
Well, fine. Now tell me, in order to get your band down here, your drill teams and so forth and so on, somebody has to be behind you, and I know the Storm Lake people and Beaver fans and everybody else are behind the team and the band. How'd you get here?
Well, we were financed by the college bringing us here. They felt like it was a sort of a prestige item for a college to bring a band along with a football team to a bowl like this, and we appreciate the efforts of the administration at Buena Vista College, who have done so much to make this trip possible, and also all of the fans back at Storm Lake who have been very kind in their praise of the band this year. It's been a real fine season for us. We've really enjoyed it.
Now, people like Carl Peterson and Firmagro, they had...
Yes, well, I understand they had a lot to do with the telecast of the game, which was a big factor also in whether we came to the game or not. Carl Peterson of Peterson Motors and the fine folks at the Firmagro Corporation had much to do with the sponsoring of the telecast, and this was a big decision because we felt that the television exposure would be good for our band and for the college.
Jim, we are looking forward to seeing your band perform and the football game as well. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Well, the score here at the Boothill Bowl in Dodge City, Kansas, Buena Vista 14, St. Mary 14, and we'll be back with more halftime activities in just a moment. And now we'd like to turn things over to Doc Daniels for the commentary on the Buena Vista College Marching Band.
Ladies and gentlemen, for your halftime enjoyment, here is the 1975 Buena Vista College Marching Band and Drill Team. Sponsor is Patsy Hale. Band drum majorette is Kay Hawks, and drill team co-captains are Marcia Moxford and Dawn Peterson. Today's halftime presentation is a salute through music and movement to the United States bicentennial celebration. Here is Music of America. One of the earliest American melodies was the tune Yankee Doodle, usually played by a fife and drum. The westward expansion of the United States during the 19th century gave us many folk songs, such as Shenandoah, also known as Across the Wide Missouri. There they are, ladies and gentlemen, the Buena Vista College Marching Band and Drill Team. marching band and drill team now conclude today's halftime performance with a rock tune made famous by the famous trumpet virtuoso Maynard Ferguson. Here is Eli's Comin'.
We'll be ready for the start of third quarter action in just a moment. Well, we've had an entirely different ball game in the first half. One quarter was all St. Mary's, and the other quarter Buena Vista. St. Mary's scoring 14 points in that first quarter to jump off to that 14-0 lead, and then the Beavers coming back and tying it up in the second quarter. So we're all even Steven as we get ready to start the second half action. Of course, the Cavaliers had the option. They chose to receive. They'll be receiving at the north end of the field. The Beavers will be kicking off from the south end as both clubs come out onto the field to get things underway. The referee, Roy Piper, along with the heads lineman, back downfield, waiting as they talk things over here. Egley will be kicking off for the Beavers, and back deep for the Cavaliers will be number 32, Pat George. Up short for them, Gene Flax on the near side, Haslam in the middle, and Martinez on the far side, standing at about the 20-yard line, with George all by himself back close to the goal line. As we wait the referee signal, and the second half is about to get underway. Egley's kick, a sailor going to the far corner and out of bounds. Let's see what they'll do with it. Goes out of bounds on the 5-yard line. Pat George was over there attempting to field it, but as a result of the ball going out of bounds, we'll start things off from the 40-yard line of the Cavaliers. Because if you don't keep it in bounds, man, that hurts. So they lost 35 yards on the kickoff. First and 10 for the Cavaliers at their own 40-yard line. McNeese will be the quarterback in there for them, the passing quarterback for St. Mary's. Coming wide up to the right side, Pat George. Wide to the left, Tom Arney. Here's the sent across by Haslam, a fumble, and let's see who's got it. They stripped the ball from Haslam immediately, and down there on it, recovering for the Beavers, is Dennis Fay, number 74. In there to help him, number 34, Brad Jones. So, early in the ball game, the breaks went all the way.
Here's, that's Haslam. He fumbles the ball, and there's Buena Vista linebacker Brad Jones there, and defensive end Dennis Fay comes up with the ball. Big break for the Beavers, and maybe things are going to turn around here. In the first half, the Beavers made the mistake. Now St. Mary's has. Knutson to throw. He's got Steve play,
and the ball is incomplete. Back there to bust it up was Chuck Ferguson, number 40, for the Cavaliers. The intended receiver down there, Steve Trost of the Beavers. So Knutson was going to try and hang it on him on the first play after the fumble recovery. But the Cavaliers weren't fooled too much. All right, Turn replacing Cyro in the Beaver lineup as Knutson brings them out again. Turn wide left, Cyro wide right. Here's Knutson on the keepers, got some good running room, cutting back, coming through and still rolling down inside the 25-yard line before he's finally tripped up in there by number 32, Pat George. Again. Steve Knutson on the old bootleg picked up a Beaver first down. Jim Bruin into the lineup now, replacing Steve Trost. First and 10, Buena Vista. Knutson again. Gives a handoff to Caper. Caper running hard, down, deep inside the 10-yard line. Let's see, loose ball or what?
Okay, here's the play. Hand off to Kafer. He cuts back, sees a big hole. He's just a tough man to bring down. He just goes for everything he can get. Good run up the middle. There's a big hole open up there by Jeff Arp, the center, and Sonny Riesland, the offensive guard, and Dan Phillips in there doing a heck of a job.
All right, first and goal for the Beavers at the 8-yard line. Harold Edwards made the save on Kafer that last time as Knutson gets him set once more. He fakes, he rolls off to the right side, keeps it himself, cutting inside, gets down to about the 2-yard line before he's finally tripped up in there by John Moses.
Okay, this is the bootleg that Knutson ran a little bit earlier in this series, and there's offensive guard Sonny Riesland is doing a real good job coming out there and taking out that defensive end that allows Knutson to cut back inside. A real good job by the pulling guard, Riesland, a freshman from Webster City.
Second and about 3 for the Beavers on the Cavalier 3-yard line. Here's Knutson. Gives on the handoff to Kafer. Didn't get too far that time as he stopped by Ferguson for the Cavaliers. Might have lost about a half a yard. Make it 3rd and 4.5. They got the ball back near the 5-yard line now. 3rd down situation as timeout is taken by the Beavers of Buena Vista as Steve Knutson wants to go over and talk things over. Telecast is being brought to you by permission of the Boothill Bowl Committee. Leon Flax is the chairman in conjunction with the NAIA Commissioner's Office in Kansas City, Missouri. Boothill Bowl is officially sanctioned by the NAIA, an organization of 523 member colleges located in all 50 states. Well, the Beavers are back in the huddle once again, waiting to see what's going to happen here. Their fans standing up over there, partially to try to keep warm and partially hoping their team can punch it in. And here, coming in at the last minute from the far side of the field, number 77, Mark Van Dyke, who was talking over the defensive strategy with his coaches on the sidelines to see what the situation was. And now the Beavers went back into the huddle. They're going to talk it over once again as they break out of there to see if they can punch it in. As Knutson takes into the caper, and man, he's racked up in a hurry. Nowhere to go is the whole middle of that line for the Cavaliers, led by Van Dyke, Schmidt, and McDaniel. Racked him up. So now it looks as though we're going to have a field goal attempt again by Egley for the Beavers. The ball right at the 5-yard line. Real early here in the 3rd period of play. Gross will hold. Egley will kick from about the 17. Snap good, the ball down, the kick in the air, and it is good. And the Beavers go on top in the ball game by a score of 17-14. Here's the 3rd quarter score for you. Kansas University 35, Missouri 17. So Buena Vista breaks the ice here early in the 3rd period on that 27-yard field goal by Egley to move into the lead for the first time in the ball game, 17-14. As Pat George once again goes deep for the Cavaliers, awaiting the kick of Egley. Waiting for the referee's whistle. And Egley makes his approach. Good long end over end kick that George will take right on the goal line, breaks the plane, and goes in for the automatic touchback. So the Cavaliers will put the ball in play at their own 20-yard line, 1st and 10, trailing in the ball game for the first time by 3 points. McNeese, Haslam, Flax, and Kane in the backfield for the Cavaliers. Up front, the Beavers have Rouse, Besenius, Schmidt, Kirchhoff, and Fay, Struby, and Jones, the linebacker. McNeese sets them down, turns, fakes, now wants to throw, and the ball is caught on a beautiful catch, and then a flag after the catch. So we'll have to wait and see here what happened. On the catch, Pat George just took it away from the Beaver defenders. And then, what happened, we don't know. Jim Cox was caught for an infraction. So they'll tack 15 more onto the end of that. The completion good up to the 48-yard line of the Beavers. And
okay, McNeese drops back and just kind of floats it out there. The receiver, George, makes a good catch, and then there's called for roughness after that. A real good catch by George.
So now the Cavaliers have turned things around momentarily. They have the ball 1st and 10 at the 33-yard line of the Beavers. They trail 17-14 in the ball game. As McNeese sets them down. Turns, gives to Haslam. Haslam cuts into the middle, picks up about 4 before he's sacked up by Fay and Kirchhoff for the Beavers. Gets it down to about the 30-yard line, make it a 3-yard pickup, make it 2nd and 7 for St. Mary. Cavalier cheerleaders trying to talk it up and get something started. BB defensive bench over there not too happy right at the moment, looking patient. Here's a quick pitch on the outside to Haslam. He's got a blocker out in front. Finally run out of bounds on the far side by John Rosebud. Did he get enough from the first down or not? We'll have to wait and see. Yes, they say he did, though. Mark it at about the 22-yard line. Gary Kansky leading the way for Haslam over there. Jambroni coming out of the lineup for the Cavaliers as George goes back in. There's a Beaver down on the field. It looks like Gary Schmidt shaken up on the play as the BB trainer, Dr. Eggland, out there looking him over to see what the situation is. Oh, Dennis Fay, correction, it wasn't Schmidt. Dennis Fay shaken up. He comes out of there. First and 10 Cavaliers at about the 22-yard line of the Beavers. Now the Beaver defense being put to the test once again. Bob Monahan replaces May. McNeese is going to throw again. He's got a man down here, and let's see, incomplete. Nice coverage that time by Keith Stribe for the Beavers. Step for step in there with George that time as they tried to hit pay dirt.
Okay, here's isolation here on Keith Stribe, a cornerback for the Beavers. McNeese sets up and throws. Stribe has it played perfectly right in front of the receiver. Good play by Stribe.
All right, 2nd and 10 now for the Cavaliers. Bob Monahan has replaced Dennis Fay in the Beaver lineup on defense, the defensive right end. McNeese brings him out once more. That's a down. The rush on, the ball thrown complete, and there's a Roy Brown down to about the 10-yard line. And Max Struby makes the stop for the Beavers, but not until they pick up another first down. Brown taking the pass from McNeese. First and 10 Cavaliers, just shy of the 10-yard line. So they could conceivably pick up the first down with not getting into pay dirt. Timeout, Cavaliers, as they had a little bit of a mix-up. Running onto the field, Owen Kane, and they didn't have a chance to get things unwound, so McNeese comes over to talk things over with his coach, Matt May. Well, the National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics, along with memberships of 523 colleges and universities across the United States and Canada, is happy to welcome the 6th annual Boothill Bowl as an NAIA special event in 1975-76. While member colleges and universities in the NAIA vary in enrollment from a few hundred to 13,000, they share a common goal of sound, balanced athletic programs administered and controlled by responsible educators. NAIA sponsors 16 national championship events and, in addition, sanctions educationally sound and socially significant athletic events as NAIA special events. The NAIA is pleased to be associated with the Boothill Bowl and commends its officials for their support of the game. The NAIA athletes participating here today exemplify the motto of the NAIA: athletics, education for leadership, character, and citizenship. Well, the Cavaliers just about ready to swing back into the action. They've got the ball 1st and 10 on about the 10.5-yard line of the Beavers, with 11 minutes to go here in the 3rd period. As McNeese has George wide to the right, sets him down. He drops back. He looks. He's still looking. He throws into the end zone, intercepted in the end zone, and coming out with it now is Jim Cox. He's got room, and he brings it all the way out to about let's see where they mark it, the 35-yard line it'll be. Jim Cox finally run out of bounds by Jim Cale. And Fox, of course, he could have set his knee down in the end zone and had the touchback, but he saw running room and took off.
Here's the pass. It's a floater up there over the receiver's head, and Jim Cox brings it out. It looks like he might have there's a good block there. It looks like he might have a open line, but the defenders catch up with him. It's a good return, and Cavaliers have been...